very passionate about the education, and it was all because there was support, you know, to further educate people. If you look at the statistics now in Ghana, the numbers are increasing, and it is very, very dangerous for even the population that we have in this country. So, I mean, what do you have to say to this? Of course, I mean, what we will say will be very little, may not necessarily have the impact that we are looking for, but at the end of the day, we need to still advocate for the reinstatement of the funds allocated to persons living with HIV and AIDS. Please.
Yeah, Kwame, thank you very much, and good morning to your viewers as well. It's been a while. We woke up one day when Donald Trump became the president, and I think, well, I don't know whether it was a second policy or the third one that he touched.
Yeah.
But we woke up one day and were told that U.S., being a major donor of global HIV funding programs, decides now to cut off resources to this area. We realize that Ghana health system lacks sustainable domestic funding. We have a problem as a country. We don't have sustainable source of funding to help the Ghana health system that we have. If someone decides to cut off your source of funding, for me, it wouldn't have been a problem if we were to have our resources, funding resources available. We don't have a problem because, well, we are a sovereign nation and we must have things done by ourselves.
Absolutely.
So why do we have a problem if this US decides to cut off our aid? It happened to be a problem. But you realize that Ghana has made progress in this area over the years. And you described the conditions of our brothers in this situation. They are sometimes not their own faults. Sometimes it could be some other issues that transfusion of blood and all those can also be contaminated, and then people will also be affected. So we can't say they get those diseases because of lifestyle. It could be so many other areas. You and I, we are at risk.
Absolutely.
And therefore, if there's something like that, we have a problem. We've made some gains over the period. HIV is about reduced to 1.7%. The last data in 2023, which means that it's about almost 350,000 plus live with HIV in Ghana now. Huge.
That's quite significant.
Yeah, huge. And you know, when there's a cut, it reverses gains made over the period. We have made some gains. So if you decide to reduce or cut off funding, the gains we have made, what happens? We increase mortality. We increase the spread. And it worsens the public health issues. There will be crisis. So I would have loved such issue would not have occurred. When it does, what do we do as a country?
Right.
I'm sure we sit here today trying to get solutions from me. I may not be a health expert, but when it comes to where we can get funding to support ourselves, maybe we can proffer some ideas and all that. What must we do where we find ourselves? We must intensify domestic mobilization.
Right. Right. How do we intensify domestic mobilization?
Well, go through our budgets over the period and find out the allocation for HIV. I don't know, but as a country, all the time we have a deficit budget all the time.
Yeah, that's
we
true.
look for funding. In fact, if you look at 2025, the budget source of funding, we have about 7. We have grants, and huge funds have been allocated or we perceive to be coming from outside. Now that there's going to be a cut, what happens? It means it throws our budget off gear. How do we mobilize? We have CSOs. We have other organizers. I'm looking at finding solutions within. The CSOs are there. The other organizations. Now that we are taking off USAID, let's look at other places that we can also domestically mobilize funds from. Have allocation in our budgets. Increase the proportion that we give to them. That's another way of doing this. Then we can have some regional solidarity. If US want to cut you off, talk to the ECOWAS, our neighbors, come together. We live in a region. We don't live on an island. We have ECOWAS, we have other bodies within our sub-regions. How do we collaborate? How do we move forward? Do we put a proposal looking out where we can get funding from? Beyond this, we can also look at diversify our partnership. BRICS, they are coming up. The Russia, the South Africa, about 5 or 6 countries. Yes, let's see how we can talk to these organizations to help us, because USA discards now our aid, support. So what do we do? So I think we can look at domestic mobilization in terms of our revenue, cut off some unnecessary expenditures that are not really helpful, and push those one to those areas. And then we can look at the regional discuss with you.
One would hasten to ask, why is it that when we're getting all these fundings from the international community, we did not invest same in research, and perhaps research that will lead to finding a cure for HIV and AIDS? You know, as a region in terms of, you know, the continent. Because I don't want to believe that after all these years, having all these research institutes across the world, we still do not have a cure for HIV and AIDS. I don't want to believe that, because then it feeds into the narrative that, oh, people are making money off it, and that is why they have decided not to research into finding a possible cure for HIV and AIDS.
Well, KWAME, it's debatable. In fact, do we even believe in our research in our country, first of all? And do we do it well?
Yeah.
If you go to some of our institutions, and you can't even find where the research outputs are, where we keep them. So we tend to throw away our own findings and our own reports. That's the difficult part. And whether the world is not helping us to develop a cure or find a cure to a problem is another issue that I don't have a solution to. But then let's look at our traditional medications, Mampong and other places. They have also come out with a lot of medicine to help boost the immune system to protect our brothers. So in terms of research, yes, it's an area. We should have found solution over how many years have you gone under the radar? So many years since this HIV issues came up. Yeah. But we seem not to have a solution. Okay. What we can do is just to increase our lifespan over the period. But the cure has been a problem. But some of the diseases or the illness, it's difficult to find solution. BP, we've been in it for over the years. Do we have a cure? It's a lifestyle situation. What about HIV? We don't know. Some could be lifestyle. It could be so many other issues. But just as you indicated, research is key. But do we even trust what we produce out there? That's another issue. Okay.
I think that it's important to share the numbers with the viewers so that they see how serious the possible cuts the impact the possible cut may have on the people of this country. So if you're looking at the Ghana AIDS statistics and per the research I just conducted, the preamble really is that it is really alarming, because as of this is in 2022, so we're looking at a 3-year gap. Approximately 354,927 people are living with HIV and AIDS in Ghana. 354,000.
Yeah, so now it's 450 plus.
Yes, so yeah.
As a 2023.
Yeah, as a 20. Okay, so 400,000 means that it has shot up. Yeah. So which is even more alarming, because even if the description given to this one it is indeed alarming, then the 400,000 is dangerous.
Even these are the people who have reported.
Reported, so they are unreported cases. Fantastic. So in terms of regional distribution, okay, first let's go to the demographics. So we are looking at adults who 15 years plus, right? We are looking at about 330,215 of them. This is at 2022. I don't know the current statistics. Yeah. And children from 0 to 14 years, we are looking at 24,712. Adolescents, we are looking at between the ages of 10 and 19, 21,439. And then young people, between the ages of 15 to 24, we are looking at 40,497. Now, if you look at the regional breakdown, Greater Accra region, we are looking at 85,403 persons. Ashanti region, we are looking at 72,429. Eastern region, we are looking at 46,339 persons living with HIV. Central region, we are looking at 24,046 persons. Western region, 23,904. Bono region, 19,281. Volta region, 16,996. Bono East, 14,617 persons. Western North, 11,880 persons. Northern region, 7,405. Upper East, 7,361 persons living with HIV and AIDS. Upper West, 7,185 persons. Ahafu, you are looking at 6,509. Uti, 6,149. Savannah region, 3,680. Northeast region, 1,000. So Northeast has recorded the lowest. But even that is around 1,000. The highest is Greater Accra with over 85,000 persons living with HIV and AIDS. That's alarming, very alarming. And cumulatively, we are looking at about some 400,000, like you said. I mean, how do we intensify education? I do recall that when I was growing up, we had a number of educative materials on TV and on radio, educating people on HIV and AIDS, educating people on the effect of not having sex especially if you're not married, without using condoms and things like that. And I do recall the ABC and all of that. Yes, abstain, be careful or something like that, and then condom use. So how do we ensure that? Because you see, whether we like it or not, we're not going to get funding. But as a nation, we cannot also sit down for the depletion of our population, and so we must do something about it. Maybe Ghana Health Service, Ministry of Health, must begin to start a conversation about reigniting, or rather reintroducing, the adverts that we had on TV, in order that we can educate. If we can't find the cure, at least we can educate people on the effects of HIV and AIDS and things like that. You think that is the right call to make? Yeah,
no, it's the right call. If you don't have money, what do you do? But remember, all this education, the bottom line is funding. If you want to intensify your campaign towards this, what do you do? It's funding. And I'm curious. I want to find, maybe today I'll look at the budget allocation for Ghana Health Service, the health sector, and how much will be going to this area in terms of education. My only plea is that we should really look at the budget again. Now that we are going to have, I don't know whether we factored this, the pronouncement of Trump into our budget items. Now that they are cutting off funding, what do we do in regards to the funding allocations that we have in this area? So it's we need to look at this. Intensify education is the way to go. And schools, universities, other public areas, we should intensify education in all these areas. But it won't go. I mean, we need to have money to do all this. Okay. Go ahead.
So you were going to you asked a question about the budget allocation to the Ministry of Health. We are looking at about some 9.93 billion.
9.93
billion. But in terms of the specific allocations, I'm unclear. But we are looking at
9.93
billion.
Okay.
Which will cater for claim payments, essential medicines, vaccine payments, free primary health care, the Ghana Medical Care Trust, that's the Bahama Cares, and bridging of USAID financial shortfall. So it was captured in the budget.
Okay.
It was captured in the budget, among others. So, but the specific allocation to dealing with persons living with HIV and AIDS is captured in it, but we don't know the exact allocation that has been made. Because if you read on here, it says that additionally, the Ministry of Health will also receive funding for other initiatives, such as the payment of salaries for pharmacists employed in 2023, etc., and the distribution of free sanitary pads to female students in primary and secondary schools, which has been allocated 292.4 million Ghana cedis. And so in terms of the specific allocation for HIV and AIDS, it is unclear.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, my only worry is that we can spend all the time. Ghana after election, the next idea, the next agenda is to embark on another campaign to bring another president. That's all. But if you have a chunk of our population that we are going to lose to HIV-related math issues, what happens to productivity? If people are not in good health, what happens? You can't produce anything in the country. So our lifespan must be sustained, has measures that we can put in place to help resolve some of these issues. And one area that we can also focus on is global funding. Yeah, the country can also have...
But the global funding was the USAID funding, no? Or there are some other sources that we made.
Yeah.
But if you read further, it says that Ghana's government has allocated funds to combat HIV and AIDS. But the specific allocations are unclear. And it goes on to say that the budget did not explicitly state the available funding that was allocated. And in terms of the progress that we have made in combating HIV and AIDS, 72% of people living with HIV knowing their status, 87% of those who know their status on treatment are on treatment, and 68% of those on treatment being virally suppressed in 2022. So the country still faces challenges in achieving the UN's fast-track goals of 959595 by 2025.
Okay.
The estimated cost of Ghana's national HIV response is expected to increase from $133 million.
That's a projection.
Yeah, that's a projection to over $145 million by 2025, with a funding gap of over $68 million projected for 2025.
Wow.
So that is quite dangerous.
Yeah.
I don't know where we're going to get the money to fund this. That's why we need to be very careful with our activities and our lifestyles and things like that, because then we burden the country with some of these ancillary costs, which may not necessarily be, even if we've captured it in the budget, we may not necessarily find the funding to be able to deal with these matters well.
Yeah.
All right. So
this is one area. What other the health-related areas? issues that we have. We haven't even talked about kidney. We have not talked about. So we're going to have a challenge on our health system in our country if this is sustained.
Okay. It's a problem. It's a problem. All right. So let's move on and look at the other topics. I don't know why Honorable Sukwaru is still not here. I think they have to call him again and find out why he's not here. Okay, so the next topic that we're going to be looking at has got to do with the consultation with the Council of States in respect of petitions which have been sent to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama for the removal of the current Chief Justice, Madam Tokonu. I think it was to be expected. A lot of people are saying that this was to be expected, so I don't know why, let me just go for this quick commercial break. When I return, we will be joined in the studios by Honorable Sukwaru, who is here now, so that we can have this second conversation. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
It's also a little bit of a cliche. We're all used to the James Bond scene, as it were, with all the ambassadors sipping champagne and seeming to do nothing else but dine and sip champagne at receptions. That is not true. That is a misconception of the time and the nature of the work.
Diplomacy is not devoid of accountability.
Everything that matters in Africa matters to Europe as well. Be it demography, be it economy, be it security, be it culture.
Can somebody tell tell me where Ghana is found in Africa? Is it West? Is it South? Is it North? Is it East Africa? Which one? Any idea? Any idea?
It's like on the West.
It's like, this is what? I don't get.
To the South. No, never mind. It's to the West. It's to the West.
Okay. South American ambassadors represented.
I'm transforming the UN and making the UN more fit for business for Ghana is the prime objective that I have here.
You are one outstanding journalist, broadcast journalist who has
Welcome back from that quick commercial break. We needed to get Honorable seated. Honorable, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I trust you are well.
I
thought you were going to be the Deputy Lands Minister. What happened? You didn't get it. I was so confident that you were going to get a Deputy Lands Minister.
Is that what the President told you? I'm not aware of that.
I'm saying that I was confident.
Oh, okay.
The President didn't talk to me. I was confident that you were going to get the Deputy Lands Minister.
Okay.
You were on the Lands Committee, I believe.
Yes.
And you played a very significant role.
But even the ranking of the lands then, Honorable Rashid Pelpo, later Sweeney became ranking. They are all serving at different ministries, so it doesn't matter which committee you served. I believe that His Excellency, the President, has a vision, and so he looked at the people that can help him achieve the vision, and so we are all helping behind the scene. We are in Parliament also making sure that we support him to succeed. And as and when he calls on any of us, we will not hesitate to support. But I believe that he's done the right choice. So far, the appointment that he's made is excellent. All the people he has appointed are up to task. They are competent. You cannot question their competent level. And so what we just have to do is to support him behind just like you are here. You are the host of the show, but I believe there are other supporting staff behind the scene who are supporting you, and so that's how governance is. So it doesn't matter when you are in the front line, but there are people who are behind the scene probably that are, doing, let me say, even 80% of the job. So I want development for my country, and as I believe in him, that he would deliver. So we are all.
See, I think that when His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo won in 2016-17 thereabouts, there were all forms of pontifications about the competencies of the people that he had put in office. But fast forward, all of us still.
But at least we can see the difference for the past 3 months.
It's only 3 months.
It's only 3 months.
No. I think for the gains made so far, we cannot be blind to it. I'm only saying that I pray. I'm not.
Let me give you one proverb. In my local language, there's a saying that for you to see a beauty of a woman, look at the legs. That's what the beauty is. And so for you to see, the legs of a woman, that's what the beauty is. So starting from down up, that's what the beauty is. And so starting from the word go.
Can you testify to that?
I have no idea.
He can, and then you can equally testify to that.
It's a problem. No, also my wife, but her legs are very beautiful.
Sure.
So yes, that's
my wife is her legs are very beautiful. So from.
Okay. All right.
From the left approach.
Very well.
And so starting from the first days of his office, will tell you that the man is up to something.
Okay. With the appointments, I think I'm on record to have also sort of agreed with the very many opinions expressed that these are very good appointments. We just live to see and see whether their commitment will last the entire 4 years. No? That's all we're waiting for. All right. Mahama consult Council of State on petitions to remove Chief Justice. And Prof, I wanted to start with you on this particular subject matter. Blessed Man Alomaso asked me a question on the newspaper headline segment and wanted my quick response to it. I'm an officer of the court, and I gave him my opinion on it. And my opinion is entirely my personal view on even the removal of some other appointees of the erstwhile administration. That once we say governance is a continuum, then we must carry on the excesses, we must carry on the gains. It's like when you do investment, and so for instance, we are saying that, oh, Bank of Ghana recorded losses, so we are going to close down Bank of Ghana. I don't think that is the way to go. Not so. Yeah. So if people have acted in ways which we think were not in consonance with the laws of this country, maybe you must correct the wrongs and not necessarily remove the person who, you know, is heading the institution. Maybe the person could not execute, or perhaps even executed, but not to your satisfaction. It doesn't mean the person is not good at what he or she does. But that's entirely my personal view. I don't know what your view would be.
Well, we should expect this. We know that the president appoints and disappoints. So if you want to borrow the words of our late president, President Tamas Dufiasem, sitting here, I don't have an idea what is happening at the judicial system. You may know better than I do. Are they corrupt act or people not performing well? We can tell. But any time a new government comes, we should expect this. A lot of people would have their positions changed. New people also will be appointed, as whether we do a proper assessment of their performance over the period. I have no idea whether we do that. But I would have loved situations like this. We do a thorough assessment of performance of these leaders before we touch them. We had some call, I've seen a few days ago, about the former IGP, and that led to a change of that position. We have another person. Several areas will see the same situation, but is it the prerogative of this administration? They decide to do things that will help the country and to help. So if this initiative is going to help, that is fine. But let's look at the fundamentals, the basic thing that we need to know. And Kwame, you can testify at the law what happens at judicial. We have the three arms of government. I think that's what we have. Right. We are told in our government subject days. The legislator, what again? The judiciary, the executive, the three, and now we have the fourth state also coming in. When we have dominance of the executive, we have a problem. When we have the legislator, also we have a problem. Leading an issue. Let's look at the grounds for removal of any judicial head. We know that two things. First, there should be the grounds of removal. There must be an allegation. And if those allegations are proven, all right, then we can do that. And the process must also be transparent. If you want to do that, you must go through a transparent process to have this person also removed. When you do that, then we say that, well, we've done it right. If you don't do it well, then we have a threat of judicial independence. That's the other side. If you don't do it well, the executive will be seen to be dominating or dictating the pace for the judiciary, which is not the best. If you also don't do it well, you may have procedural flaws. And again, if you don't do it well, you're likely to have domestic and international repercussions over the period. We've had a record like that over the years. So let's find out from our constitution under which circumstance can you, as a president, remove the leader of that place. In removing the Chief Justice, we know that it requires a structured process per the article, the Constitution 1992, and we've stated in Article 146 or so. You can't bypass that article. You must have an allegation first, and the allegation, when such allegations are received, the president must appoint a committee. That's what we know. And then when the president appoints a committee, that will be senior judges, experts, to go into the case. And if any misconduct are found, we can now use it as a base to have the head removed. I know my basic law that I did, business law, I've not done much in that area. This is what I know. if you don't do all this, we must receive an allegation. You must go into the allegation, set a committee, and the committee must be appointed by the president. If that is what this administration wants to do, that's fair enough. But we don't want to wake up in the morning and we have been told the head has been removed. On which grounds, we don't know. No committee, nothing set up. But as I indicated, the president appoints and also disappoints. So that is just my take on that issue.
Yes, first of all, Kwame, let me say good morning to our cherished viewers, most especially the good people of Sisala West. And yes, with the issue about the petitions against the Chief Justice, listening to Prof, it is not, I think he was trying to, compare the issue of IGP to this. IGP, the president, in removing IGP from office, I don't think the president is supposed to be, the IGP is supposed to be petitioned. That could be one of the grounds. I mean, if there are, grounds for removal that a person thinks that IGP has to be removed on grounds of maybe incompetent or some things that he involved himself. But for IGPs, and just like any other heads of security, because the president himself is the head of security in the country, so if he thinks that maybe this person is not helping me achieve my vision as far as security is concerned, and he thinks that I have a better person that can, help me achieve that, and he can ask you to go. I want this person to be there. That one is understandable. The Chief Justice issue, it is not the president who is calling for the removal of the Chief Justice. There are 3 different petitions against the Chief Justice. And even that, when that happens, the Constitution, like you rightly stated, that the president has to consult the Council of State.
Right.
After consulting the Council of State, if the Council of State see that perhaps the petition there are, grounds for removal, or maybe the petition has some, material fact. I'm not a lawyer, but I have a lawyer. I have a lawyer friend who is my mentor. Yeah, I don't pay him though. If there are material facts in the petition, what they have to do is to set up the committee, and so that committee will look into the matters, and then certainly will come up with their findings. After the committee comes out with their findings, if the finding says that, look, the allegations are, they do not have any fact, they are just mere allegations, the committee report can either advise the president to, act in a other way or otherwise, either to remove or to just throw the petitions away. So as we speak now, it is only a petition. And so what we saw yesterday, the communication, the minister in charge of president communication was sort of like informing the public. So you and I didn't know that there was a petition. And so it is only fair that the president carry along the people he leads. If we sit and tomorrow we hear that the president says that based on the report or based on the findings of the committee, I am relieving the Chief Justice from her post, I think you will be surprised. When did this petition come? So as every stage, they must, this is, we're not talking about any other position, we're talking about Chief Justice. So at every stage in this process, they have to update the public. And the first stage was that people petition. And so there was the need, not just one petition, there was 1, 2, 3. So there was the need for president to inform the public that he has received petitions against the Chief Justice and he is in consultation with Council of State for further action. So if the Council of State advised that, look, this petition, I don't think that there's a need for you to constitute any committee to look into it. It lacks material facts in there. But they are just mere allegations and all. We'll move on. So I am against persons who are seeing this petition to be like this is something that is coming from the president. It is not. That is, so the people that petition the president against the Chief Justice are persons who are citizens of this land. So as I said here, if I see any of his appointees that is doing something or has done something, I think that it is against our constitution. That's not what the constitution says. So I can only petition the president to draw his mind to the fact that one of his appointees, one of this person is into ABCD. If they can kindly look into it, if they look into it and see that, well, what I'm saying it is true, then actions must be taken against the person. So this is purely procedural. How do you call it? You said procedural what?
Procedural.
It's procedural. And so it is a process, and that people have petitioned. President didn't do anything untoward. He is in consultation with the Council of State, and that's what the Constitution says. He's not the queen, and he is not just receiving the petition and say that I've received a petition against you. Certainly, the Chief Justice will be given opportunity to respond to those perhaps allegations raised in those petitions. And so, if she has, can clear herself, why not? I mean, we in NDC, especially His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, believes in this gender equality. That is why the second, stronger person in Ghana, I'm talking about the Vice President. She's a woman, and so I don't think President would take any delight from trying to go
the
after
question
the
I think that has been bothering many would be who petitioned the president. Number one. Number two, what's the content of that petition? I do know that Professor Azar had petitioned the president before. I don't know whether he's still the person who, on the removal of, I think so, I stand to be corrected. Professor Kweku Azar, I stand to be corrected. I think that he also, some of the things that he put forward was how the Santro Kofi Alavanyo Likpe Lolobi case went. That he thinks that they were unfairly treated, and that was a clear violation of the Constitutional Republic of Ghana. I don't know whether he's one of the people who have petitioned the president, or there are different people. Honorable, do you have an idea?
I equally do not have an idea until the communication we all saw from the presidency. I believe certainly once this is a public something, nobody. Said that very soon when the committee is put in place, I believe the petition will be known public. They will make it public for everybody to look into it.
You want to make a quick point?
Yeah, I think when I was giving my submission, I mentioned that there must be valid reasons, proving misconduct, incapacity, and some other issues in terms of constitutional violations. When we are able to establish all this against the head, why not? When we have not gone through all this, and you asked the question, who petitioned? And allegations were what? We have no right to know. That's what.
Okay. All right, let's proceed. You're still watching the News Drive segment here on Pan-African Television. May I remind you that in case you want to leave your comment, you can respectfully do so via our WhatsApp number. Hey, what's the WhatsApp phone? Okay. And also on Facebook, facebook.com/Pan-African Television. I know many of you are watching the show on Facebook and you have left your messages on Facebook, but I need more messages so I can read all of them all at once. Maybe let me just do. All right. Musa Batwa in Kumasi is saying that I fully support the petition to remove the Chief Justice. A recent conduct, particularly in the ruling on the birth certificate case and other related cases, were politically motivated, clearly demonstrates lack of impartiality. As Chief Justice, she is expected to uphold the integrity of the judiciary by remaining neutral and unbiased. However, it's crucial that we ensure our highest courts are led by individuals who embody fairness and independence, not those whose decisions seem influenced by political considerations. Kojo Clement says, oh, please, it is about the prostitution on our streets and towns, which our authorities have turned blind eye to. The HIV/AIDS matter. Ablade Fiekuma says, oh, I think the trust in the judiciary will rise if Chief Justice is removed. Okay. Mahamudu Fuseni Aigbedo says, wow, that's an essay. Good morning to you, Lawyer KOD, and your special guests and listeners. I'm watching you live from Greater Tamale. My thoughts on the over 1,328 missing ECG containers. We'll come there. That one is that's the meat of today's conversation. We don't want to chew all the meat at once. All right. So let us now move to the other issues, which, by the way, will encapsulate all the other tangential matters. You want to make a point?
To combat this misinformation and to help public understand the processes, the judicial system, how to remove key heads when there's a transition. Don't you think public education is good in the media space? So people misinformation.
I think we ought to explore that. You remember when Honorable just worked him, I attacked him. I said, "You people, you don't do proper PR." He started laughing. I think that when people do not have enough information, they tend to conjecture. And usually when you are not careful, those conjectures will now become the truth. So in the absence of the truth, lies prevail. So I think that we can begin to have those conversations. Let's move on. Minority accuses AG of persecuting former appointees. We'll juxtapose this with the ECG containers. It's also a different subject matter. But let's look at what the minority is saying. Honorable, I mean, you've been in Parliament. Honorable, you've been in Parliament. You've been following proceedings on the floor of Parliament, and you have listened to the opposition, the minority in Parliament, express their dissatisfaction in relation to how their colleagues have been treated or are being treated by your administration. Indeed, they claim that it's witch hunting. Some of the appointees are just going after them without basis. And yesterday, for instance, in relation to the NSB gentleman, who, by the way, was able to allegedly procure 37 houses. 37 houses. 37 houses. So the NSB gentleman,
yes,
37 houses.
National
says that,
Signal Bureau.
Why are you persecuting? Why are you trying the gentleman in the court of the public? Why are you not allowing due process to follow?
You see, bro. Kwame, you are a lawyer. I am not, but we've been in this country at least for more than, let me say, 4 decades, and so when I see my colleagues speak this way, I ask myself, so what kind of country are we trying to build? That when a politician does something and you are going after the politician, it's persecution. For the past 8 years, we've witnessed government prosecuting former appointees. Nobody saw it as a persecution. In their case, Kwame, let's even narrow the conversation to the NSB, National Signal Bureau, CEO. Even in some jurisdiction, when you even have a property that government thinks that they suspect the acquisition of the property, if they look at the property that you have, compare that to the salary you are receiving, they can even come after you to investigate to see the source of the funding of that property. Is that not the case? Even granted that the man didn't even do anything, what business is he doing to enable him procure 37 houses? Right. These are monies that they have evidence of the transfers. It's not like, yes, until the person is proven guilty, but they have evidence of transfers to the extent of even opening a company, he and the wife, instead of, the organization he was a CEO is NSB. He also opened a company by name NSB Communications and transferred huge sums of money. We're talking about $7 million, not Ghana cedis. And he's the same person who withdrew all the funds from his private company's accounts. Purchased all these houses. This person has been arrested. The person has other nationalities. and the investigations are not done, you are terming this as a persecution. Look at what is happening at ECG. So what kind of country are we trying to build? About 1,000 and plus container.
No, we'll come there. That's a subject.
No, I'm just citing.
Yeah, I agree with you. But you see,
today,
if they say you are persecuting their followers, how do you organize a press conference?
No, I'll tell you. Kwame,
yes.
Kwame, yes. You are a lawyer.
Yes.
You are handling a private issue.
Yes.
It is different from where the AG is today.
Yeah.
The Attorney General, you and I see him as an Attorney General for Ghana, and he is in charge of public prosecutions. And so if the people of this country gave the president the powers to appoint somebody, I think it is only fair, as part of every ministry, once in every month or so, every period of time, they meet the press, brief the press. And so far, there was a team that was set up, the aura. The Attorney General says he's coming to update the public about the progress they've so far made. And he has come to tell us that something you and I were not even aware. Some of the cases so far, they are investigating and they are building their docket, and very soon it will be a court. And so if Attorney General is updating the public and he is telling us the kind of investigation they did, just so you and I don't sit here or somewhere else to say that these are just mere allegations. He did that just so we do not sit somewhere and say that he is only doing it based on hearsay. And that is why he provided some fact to let us know that they've really conducted investigation to the extent of even tracing transfers. He did that. It is not public persecution. The issue about the National Service case, how do you even call that a persecution? This thing happened when MPP was in power. And as broke the story, we saw how they fought trying to kill the story even soon, and as later going to court to withdraw the case and all of that. Well, in this country somewhere in November. And so if government says we are going to go after the persons who were involved in that, creating ghost names, taking huge sums of money from the taxpayer, those money that can be expanded, when you take it to my constituency, for instance, you can build a compound for the communities to benefit. Somebody just single or few people decided to put use those monies in their pocket. And so if there are material facts for government to investigate, and first of all, it has to be an arrest to detain the person to question. I am not a lawyer, but we all that is the standard procedure. And all those people that were picked were granted bail. You know, and government is taking processes in making sure that persons that stole money from the national purse are jailed, and not only jailing them, but retrieving those money so that we can use those money to develop the country. That's what government is doing. So nothing more, no persecution. If somebody said, for my good friend and brother, honorable minority leader, yes, of course, that is the work of a minority leader. But for him to always trying to paint a picture as if government is persecution, that one I disagree with him. Government has never gone after anybody if there are no, facts that the person was involved in ABCD. And so they should just allow government. Some of his colleagues in parliament yesterday, at the committee meeting, one confided, he said, Honorable Mo, Charlie, this thing that I'm hearing, me as I sit here, I'm just quoting the person. I'm not going to defend any appointees. Some of the appointees, I didn't even know them. He said this is it NSB, National Signal Bureau. So I didn't even know his name until the arrest was made. And he said some of their people who worked around him said it is true. I'm not the one saying, an MP told me yesterday. And And so if government is going after such people to ensure that those monies are retrieved and used for its purpose, and so that they will let the law take its course, then you come out to say that they are doing persecution. Persecution, should I tell him what persecution is? Attorney General, the then Deputy Attorney General, who wrote legal opinion, just legal opinion, as an Attorney General, when they came to power in 2017, they took military men in uniform, they stormed his house. Today, I'm talking about Honorable Dominic Ayini, the then Deputy Minister for Power, John Jinapo. They took military men, stormed his house. This is what we're talking about, persecution. We haven't done that. And all those things they did, they never got any court order to do that. Just a week ago, there was a court order for them to conduct a search in the former governor's house. You saw what my brother came to Parliament to say again. He even said that the persons that went to conduct the search even ended up by stealing 10,000 Ghana. Say, why will you be putting such lies in public? It is not fair. They even said they went there without a court order. Meanwhile, the people went there with a court order. So it is a mind game, my brother. Trying to paint a picture as though all those offenses are not there. But you were here. You were one of the outspoken journalists I fell in love with in opposition when NDC was in opposition. And you kept saying that if matters like this are not investigated, if John Mahama wins and matters like this are not investigated, you'll be disappointed. I can quote you, said it on your show severally. You shouted. And so what I expect from you, persons like you, you know, just immediate pass running mate to, what's the movement name? They call
Movement for Change.
Movement for Change. People like you should be applauding John Dramani Mahama in his administration, at least for bringing hope back to our country. Our country at a point was hopeless. Our country at a point we didn't even know where we're heading to. Our country at a point was run as though it was nobody's business. Our country at a point was run as though there was not a leader in this country. Anybody was just doing what he or she wanted. And so if a president has come and says that, first of all, you, my appointees, declare your asset. Not only the ministers. He says even the chief executive and the deputy chief executive, every appointee of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, first of all, you must declare your asset. And he, at every conversation, any platform he gets, he tells them, do not take the people of this country for granted. And if I appoint you and you go out there and you want to leave arrogance, he, John Dramani Mahama, will revoke the appointment. He's been saying it.
But some of them have started being arrogant already.
And if you know any appointee who is been living arrogant, if it is not by public perception and you have fact, you can complain to the chief of staff. Because he says he's coming to reset this country.
The chief of staff, how do you get him?
Oh no, your platform is a big platform. That's what I'm saying, KWAME. You cannot say that you can. Somebody just petition. If you write a petition today, it will get to the president, and the person, that particular person, certainly will be investigated to know whether or not what you are saying it is true or not. As the person will be given the opportunity to express himself. And even the petition alone will let the person sit up. It means that if he's living a certain life that the public is not happy, they started petitioning him.
I petitioned the Office of the Special Prosecutor sometime in 2023 about the All Africa Games. You remember?
Yes.
And how we spent $50 million on food.
Oh, there's an investigation ongoing.
Yeah, but I petitioned the Office of the Special Prosecutor and I wanted a response. Till today, I don't have any response from the office.
That's what I'm saying.
I want to petition the president for his removal.
That, well, I don't have a problem with that. You have your facts why you want to petition for his removal. You can, on the grounds of incompetent, that could be one of the reasons. I don't have a problem. I'm saying that, as far as I'm concerned, I know even if there are investigations everywhere, I mean, several things are on, just those things that the AG came out to speak about. But he needed, these are issues that carry weight, just so the public know what the government is doing.
Amongst others, they are talking about selective prosecution, lack of transparency, abuse of power, intimidation and harassment.
If they are talking about selective, I'll be disappointed.
Undermining the rule of law. Now let me read them. The minority alleges that the Attorney General is selectively targeting former government appointees while ignoring similar offences committed by current government officials. The minority claims the Attorney General's investigation and raids are often conducted without proper transparency, making it difficult to determine the legitimacy of the actions. They are also arguing that the Attorney General is abusing his office by using his office to settle political scores rather than upholding the rule of law. Intimidation and harassment. Attorney General's actions are intended to intimidate and harass former government appointees rather than to genuinely investigate and prosecute wrongdoing. And that the Attorney General is undermining the rule of law and the principles of justice, equity, and fairness. Prof, do you subscribe to this?
Kwame, in our local parlance, I do you, you do me. When can we stop? God no go better. Today was the 10th of this, and then another day, another person also takes up. But it's a worrying situation. And Kwame, if you care to know, let's get these numbers right through corruption. Any attempt to stop corruption or any attempt to prevent or save the nation some money, I will support. In the morning, before Honorable walked in, we were talking about the USA cutting our funding sources, which will also will not help our budget implementation because funds are going to be cut off. What do we do? So if funds are going to be lost, or we are going to have drain or some leakages through corruption and through some of these issues, then we are going to have a problem as a country. Sure. So what do we do? And per what I have, the data here tells us, in Ghana, I think we lose about 2 to 5 billion annually to direct and indirect corruptions. Now, if you look at the sources, the various key areas where we have a lot of issues, public procurement, that's a bigger source of where we have a lot of problem. Right. And as a country, per the Ghana Auditor General report, 2021, 5 to 10 billion Ghanaian cedis annually lost through inflated contracts. Now, if you look at tax evasions and custom fraud, 1 to 2 billion lost yearly to under invoicing, and that's the figure we have. If you look at natural resources sector, how much we lose? 2.3 billion lost annually from illegal mining. Then if you look at public sector payrolls fraud in that area, about 300 to 500 million, and that is the Auditor General report 2020. That's the report we have. Then we have something on illegal mining. We lose about 2.3 billion annually to environmental damages. What am I trying to establish here? As a country, this is what we are saddled with. So whenever a new government takes over, we should expect this. Just as the one we did, the discussion we had earlier on. We have a problem. Now, as a country, don't forget we have a political winch hand history after transition. You know you will have. When MPP took over, some perceived act of removing those, chasing those appointees after they took over. That's what we have been told. And the same is happening today. That minority is saying that the state is using the machinery to target former officials. And that is the context. And as I said, indicated earlier on, we have a history of political winning after transition all the time. It happens. It's not the first time we are seeing it, but when can we stop? I don't know when. Now, if we have an allegation, want to investigate and go after those people, and that's within our pay, no, we can do it. That's no problem. Because we are going to save or get some funding or funds from those who have pocketed or took a lot of funds from the state. Now, if we don't do it right, you brought a term here, selective justice. I don't know what your term is, selective justice. So if the prosecution focus on only opposition figures, we'll say selective justice. If it's true that they have issues against these officials and we want to go after them, but it must be done right. Education is key. Let us know. My friend was talking about declaration of assets as a way of controlling some of these corruptions in the country. There's one thing declaring an asset. You declare to who? To the public?
Auditor General.
Auditor General. Do we do that?
Yeah, assets are declared.
After the tenure, do we go back
to publish,
to check, and compare? You came in, before coming you had one house. After leaving the office, do we go back to check indeed? How many houses are you going with now? We don't do that.
Right.
So, Kwame, it shouldn't be seen as selective justice here. And again, we also, if you want to weaponize the AG's office as a tool to go after these officials, then we have a problem. We've been calling for giving them resources to work. But what are other areas to dictate this act? To dictate this act of the corruption? What do? We don't need to weaponize the AG only to go after the SWA administration officials.
Right.
But for me, if there are grounds to go after them, we use the right processes or procedures to go after these individuals. That's my observation on that.
Well, let me read a few messages. Good morning to you, Pan-African TV. You see how Afenyomakin was shouting yesterday, telling Speaker that the NDC is not providing jobs for the youth in the Volta region. Likewise, he talked of arable land lying idle in the Volta region. Volta is his father's hometown. When he was a majority leader, what did their party do for the Volta region? He is from Kita. Look at the sea ravaging and causing destruction. Could he shout and contribute for the sea defense wall? All right, thank you very much. Let's discuss, read more messages here on the show. Good morning to you, KOD. I think the little said about the minority leader in Ghana's parliament, the better. I think he believes he is the epitome of all knowledge in Ghana. Must one comment on everything as a minority leader? The attitude in parliament is very appalling. The minority leader is destroying his party by his style. Party elders should act quickly to advise him. Chris, DBI, sent in this one. Good morning to you, Kwame. The AG is doing this to bring the public attention to follow the case because it doesn't trust the judiciary. Mohammed sent in this one. Kwame, the petition to remove the Chief Justice is not the headache of Ghanaians, but J. Mensah and her MPP card-bearing members who have invaded the Electoral Commission. The petitioners should go beyond the removal of the Chief Justice and deal with J. Mensah and her mafias who are bent on destroying our electoral process in Ghana. Sami in Adenta sent in this one. Thank you, Sami, for your message. Good morning to you, Lawyer KOD, and to your special guest. I think you are very interested in this ECG matter. Don't worry, I'll come to you and read your messages. Oh, this one, you simply just said hi. Hi back to you. The sovereignty of Ghana resides in the people of Ghana, in whose name and for whose welfare the powers of government are to be exercised in a manner and within the limits laid down in its constitution. Thank you very kindly. Tomla Mankransu says the petitions to remove the Chief Justice are a step in the right direction and should be supported by all if we really want to help reset and rebuild public trust in the judiciary to fight corruption and injustice. Thank you. Ken Williams says, good morning to you, sir. We support the removal of the EC, CJ, and the unanimous FC for helping MPP to subvert the will of the people to rig elections and exploit the nation. We don't need moral lessons from MPP because Kufuor removed the CJ, IGP, and military heads when he came to power. Akufo-Addo did worse and removed EC, IGP, CJ, military heads, VCs, COs, and replaced them with his relatives, so he cannot advise anyone on good governance. This one says, belated birthday to Chairman Ajay Boateng, first Vice Chairman, Sunyani West Constituency of the New Patriotic Party. This one is from KK of MPP. Thank you, KK, for your message this morning. All right, these are some of the few messages that have come in, and as and when you send your messages, I'll be very honored to read your messages here on the show. Let's look at, still on the issue of oral, vis-a-vis the conduct of the Attorney General and the exercise of the constitutionally mandated obligation of the Attorney General for and on behalf of the good people of Ghana. From where you sit, Prof, do you think that the Attorney General is conducting himself in a manner that can bolster some level of confidence that he will discharge his obligation and his duty to the good people of this country?
Well, it's too early to judge this administration, and I've been one of the advocates of those who think that this administration should be given some time to see what they can do to help the country. There was, I think, January 7th or so was when the president was sworn in.
Yeah.
And then today is March.
Yes.
Started the appointment somewhere February or so. There's one thing to appoint, and there's one thing to see what they can do. It's about barely 3 months. We can do a proper assessment. We will do, our institute will do a fair assessment. Okay. I think April, somewhere middle of April, the 120 days we are going to do assessment just to help this administration. Our institute will do that. But for now, it's been an appointment over the period. Right. They announced they've started working. So for me, there should be a fresh check, to see what they can do. It's difficult to assess the performance of this administration using just 2 months ago when they took over. But they should not also be seen as using the AG as a tool to prosecute this, the previous administration. That's my issue. If you want to check the performance, the AG, you have not seen, these are the few cases that I've also seen.
But Prof, and maybe any of you can answer this question. Look, when you hear some of these things, and I've heard people say, oh, but why are you persecuting the man? Why are you prosecuting him maybe before arraigning him before the courts and things like that? You go to court with facts, and usually the fact will include elements which may appear to be evidence, right? So when you put out the facts, then on the basis of that, there will be adduction of evidence in support of the facts that you've put forward. Now, for instance, when the police arrest somebody who is alleged to have committed an offense, so for instance, murder or whatever it is, and they issue a statement, they would say that they have arrested this person in connection with this offense. And sometimes even go ahead to detail the offense that the person has committed. These are facts, right? As to whether or not that will lead to a conviction is a matter that ought to be determined by the courts. But you cannot also preclude anybody from putting out facts. Now let's look at the facts as we have received so far, and we are not prejudging anything or prejudicing, the judiciary and the outcomes of the courts in the event that these matters are prosecuted. Are you not flabbergasted and overwhelmed and surprised and agitated by the enormosity of gargantuan levels in terms of how allegedly people have dissipated public funds? Every SOE, every sector of the economy, if you were to do a proper audit, it will be revealed that people have actually stolen from the state. Earlier, we were talking about the gap in terms of our revenue generation. And you were even very concerned about how we're going to get funding because of the gap to fund the persons living with HIV and all that. Are you not upset, you know, when you hear these things? Even though, yes, I granted that we have not passed judgment and all of that, but on the face of it, are you not upset that we are getting to a point where people are just simply taking advantage of the loopholes that there exist in this country?
Kwame, I think maybe when I was giving the background to the story, I gave you some figures.
I just want us to look at the multiplicity of allegations which have been leveled.
As a Ghanaian, I'm equally worried. Equally worried. You see, we've had countless of this issue over the period, various administration. But when you have facts and you put out there in the public, what am I going to do with those things? I'm not a lawyer. If you have the fact, what do, Kwame? You know the process. Gather your evidence. Gather all the things I need. Go to the court. Use the right processes. And then get these guys to wherever you want to send them to and retrieve our money for us. So I'm equally worried as a Ghanaian. But what do we do when we have all the facts? Go to the courts. But when you want to come to the media and let people know what you have done, at the end of the day, we all go back and sleep. What have you done? You have not achieved anything. And the courts are there to help us retrieve some of our money. So what do we do? So I'm equally worried about the trend over the period while people have looted our resources and all that. If there are genuine cases and evidence are going to support our claims, what do? We go to the court and put our application.
All right. Okay. Let me come to you, Suparu, on this same subject matter. The enormity, you know, the levels of corruption that we are seeing.
So, Kwame, that is why somebody has to take this thing up. And I think that is exactly what His Excellency John Dramani is doing. So what we have to do as a country is to support him. But if we try to say that he's going after his opponent, that one will not solve the problem. If we do this and tomorrow there's another wrongdoing, then they also try to do it. We will also say they are going after our opponent. And they are going after their opponent. But this is a president who has set a precedent. Even whilst in office, he convicted one of his own appointee, Abu Gapele. We've been seeing this for the past 10 years ago. These guys came to power since 2017. Not even a single person was prosecuted. I'm talking about their personal, to just let people know that if you can prosecute your own, it means that you really mean business. People raise allegations of corruption. What did we see? What did we hear from the president then? He would come out to tell you that these are naysayers. He himself will put a committee together. Before a committee will even conclude their work, he's come out to even pass comment like the person has been cleared. And that earned him the name clearing agent in this country. And so all the allegations people raised when they were in power, people have started seeing little truth in this. For instance, I am itching to speak about the the ECG case. Look at what is happening at ECG, my brother. Every day, people complain about light off. Look at the debt in the energy sector. Yet we are losing millions of dollars in that sector. ECG. How is this possible? And so today, if you go after the people who were, in charge of whatever that transpired, to investigate, then somebody will say that it's political persecutions. So if this is how we want us to run this country, then I am afraid that tomorrow or sometime to come, we'll get up and a certain politician will come and sell this country. And the person will hide behind the fact that when they want to come after him for accountability, his supporters will say that as political persecution.
Right.
So something has to be done. And I'm saying that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, he has that track record of prosecuting his own. Not just prosecuting, he jailed a person for offenses caused by his own appointee. And he could have covered up if it has to do with persecution. This knowing John Dramani, but it's not someone that he is that type that when you even insulted him, you see, he will smile. That's the kind of person he is. But what he wants is the right thing has to be done for our country. And so I believe that the right thing that he's doing, it is to go after persons that allegedly, were involved in corrupt practices. And so when you are being investigated and the matter has been sent to court, go to court and clear yourself. You know you are innocent. President will not just go and arrest somebody and say, go and put the person in his room. He will not go and arrest somebody and say, go and put the person in Jamestown prison. He is going through the processes. And those processes are stipulated in our constitution. He hasn't gone against any, constitutional, provision that says that he should do otherwise, and he's doing all the investigations that so far have been carried out. The mandate is given to the AG. If there's a problem in the sector, then they refer it to the AG. And as Attorney General, then they take it up upon themselves. If it is Yoko, it is BNI. After they are done with their investigation, if they are able to build the case, then they refer the docket to the AG. And so far, what AG, like I indicated earlier, what he did to me was that he seems to carry the public along. And that is because the office is a public office. All right. And so as a country, we must know what our government is doing. As a country, we must know each ministry what they are doing for us. And so some of the issues, that is why AG even came out to speak, Kwame. People were saying all kinds of things. So he needed to let the Ghanaians understand that what our opponents are saying, it is not the case. This is the case. And what would they even give to Owari, excuse my language, that I'm mentioning her name, when she arrived at the airport, and then she was escorted to BNI, she went there with her lawyers, she was detained. The following day, they granted her bail. So they are building a docket. You will go to court and go and defend yourself there. If by the end of the day, a competent court of jurisdiction says that you are free to go, all the allegations raised against you do not have facts. The government do not have any, facts to back those allegations. Right. Then you are free to go. I am afraid that if government is being, people are trying to talk to government as though they are persecuting their political opponent, it means that all those huge sums of money that people have stolen, they will continue to steal and steal and steal. And one day, you and I will get up and somebody will say he owes Ghana because somebody came to take money from him and says that he's selling Ghana to him.
Okay. Are you not worried about a certain trend? Anytime there's a transition, then there's energy of that administration towards political opponent huge. Yeah. But then 2 years, 3 years down the lane, you realize that there's nothing happening. So it's a problem. Anytime there's a change of government, there's a transition from, we hand over power. The energy in which the new administration want to persecute or prosecute the current the ELSA administration often is huge, and that's my worry. You'll be watching, or after 1 year, 2 years, you'll see the energy of the administration, the energy in combating this menace. So if you can sustain the same momentum over the period in trying to retrieve funds that have gone into wrong hands, that is good, and it helps get a lot of revenue into the states, and that's what we want to.
So I will urge you to rather, trust this government. As for us, we not going. It is not going to be something that because we are now taking over.
Hold that thought. Let me go for this quick commercial break. I'll return shortly for us to continue with the discussion. Quick commercial. back from that quick commercial break. You're still watching the News Review segment here on Pan-African Television with me, KWAME OWUSU DANSO. And let me read this particular message. You know, Dr. Silfi says he's a very good friend of yours. Oh. And he says you should call him after the show. He will call you after the show. All right. KOD, in our local parlance, we have a saying: when you are not a thief and you hear shouts of thief, 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 you don't shiver or run away. As former board chairman of ECG, over 1,300 plus containers are missing, and we are yet to shout thief, thief. The minority leader has started shivering and running away. Afenyomakin, brace up, answer the rot. He superintended and stop shouting on the floor of Parliament, and they should all be arrested. MPP, no more again. Stephen Pen in Wa sent in this one. Well, thank you very much, Stephen, for your message. And that actually now ushers us into the next topic, ECG matter. Yes, the one the viewers were waiting for. The ECG matter. Keep your messages coming in. I'll read as many as I can today. So just keep your messages coming in. Let me come to you, start with you again, Prof. The issue of the ECG containers, 1,300 of them, getting missing is quite outrageous and serious. I don't know whether
1,000.
Yeah, 1,000, over 1,300 containers valued at over
1.5 billion.
Yeah, 1.5 billion Ghana cedis. That's crazy, Prof.
It's a trending story. Like I indicated earlier on, in Ghana, when we have issues like that and they come up, we use 2 days or 3 days on social media platform. We'll talk. After 1 week, another issue will come. We'll talk. And that was the issue I had with the AG and all that, putting information out there. Later on, we don't get any issues, substantive issues, and then we don't go to court. Then the public will judge. We'll leave it like that. We'll go and sleep. The next issue will come up. So that's been the trend over the period. But this is a serious issue as a country. And Kwame, you know what it does? It exposes systemic corruption.
Right.
And mismanagement of the state agencies.
Absolutely.
In fact, that's summary. It exposes the systemic corruption, mismanagement of the state management of the state agencies. That's what it does. When we talk about container, I know you ship a lot of things in that. Do you do that?
Unfortunately, I haven't. I haven't ever before.
A container is huge.
Yeah, I know, but I know they have 40 feet, those feet, whatever. He is an expert.
Oh, yeah. My brother, and he will be the best. A container, how does it look like? Huge.
Very huge.
And you have how many of them?
1,000 plus.
1,300 plus.
Is it a true story?
Yeah, true story.
Yeah, true story.
I still have my
who was the board chair? I think Afenyomakin was the board chair of ECG. Hey, let me board chair. Hey!
Which period?
Which before 7th, just recently.
Before 7th of December, 7th January. Oh no.
I see. In fact, I have let us
say till 7th January. All those containers go missing before 7th January.
When I heard the story,
but do you remember there was a first ECG scandal? Do you remember? There were $300 million or so. Anyway,
I give a summary of what the whole story is about. I will say little on that because it's a running story. We are yet to find out what happened. Indeed, if those 100 or 1,000 containers were lost, I have no idea, but that's what we have been told. And the street value. But let's look at ECG. If the story is true, anything to go by as a body, ECG as a body. You know, the ECG has long struggled with financial losses over the period.
Absolutely.
Remember, almost about 500 and plus million plus dollars annually. That's how much they lose. Partly to theft and illegal connections. This is what we know per the standard. I mean, the status of EC. Long struggled with financial loss over the period. When we receive such stories, you know, it tells you one thing. It has economic impact. I'm sure you're aware.
Absolutely.
such losses has economic, they have economic impact. And you know, losses worsen Ghana's debt crisis. Already we are recording huge figures on our debt as a period. Where did we get this money to procure these containers? And now we cannot find them. 2, it tells you weak oversight of some of our state agencies. Repeated scandals over the period. You know, the PDC scandal that came. Which administration was that? The PDC, the PDS. Yeah, we had similar scandals. I don't know where we got to.
PDS still owes the state.
Right. So Kwame, what is the way forward? That's what I think we should talk about. In fact, what to do, what has happened. I don't know what really happened at the port. I don't go to port.
So you won't know what the way forward. You said we should talk about the way forward.
Can we be talking about this on media for how many and we don't do anything?
No, we are not. You see,
action ought to be taken. That's what he's saying.
It's a running story.
Yeah. Sure.
But if you put on media and I talk about it, tomorrow I go to sleep. What else again? What have you done?
So the government must action on it.
Yes.
All right.
So if you have some wrongdoings, pick the issue up.
Yep.
Not the person prosecuted.
You see, this one has sent a very important message. I don't know how they are going to take it, but me, I tend to agree. Go on to Pan-African television. My advice to the AG is to talk much in court rather than going public. It won't help him. Every investigation is confidential. Yes. So this one also says, good morning to KOD. Sometimes I get disappointed listening to our intellectuals who should show honesty and support right things to be done. I'm equally flabbergasted to hear all these monies stolen for the benefit of one individual. As a country, we should all support any means to retrieve all the money stolen from the public purse. Thank you. Possible. Okay, if possible. Okay, I get your message. I understand. This one also says that, good morning to you, lawyer KOD, your special guest. Okay, now his message has come back, the ECG one. I'm watching live from Greater Tamale. My thoughts on the over 1,328 missing ECG containers is that the Electricity Company of Ghana has experienced changes in leadership with Kelly Gajepo serving as board chair until his resignation in April 2024, citing personal reasons. His predecessors included Honorable Afenyomakin and Habib Idrisu. See the linkage here. Can these containers of 1,328 be carried out of the port without the knowledge of these guys? Regarding the missing containers, concerns have been raised about the potential outcome of the investigation. This is a worry that even if those responsible are identified, they may not face justice due to corruption within the legal system. Corruption is a significant issue in our country, with numerous cases of embezzlement and misuse of state funds. The perceived impunity of certain individuals undermines trust in the system. To address these concerns, it is essential to ensure that the judiciary remains impartial and unaffected by political influence. Holding those in power and those out of power accountable for their actions is crucial, and anything less may have severe consequences for our country. The need for accountability and justice is paramount to prevent a few individuals from compromising the nation's integrity. The future is indeed pregnant. Aibe from Tabale sent in this one. Aibe, very sound reasoning. Thank you. Honorable, I'll come to you shortly. I just want to. Good morning to KOD. In 2016, the MPP's campaign was more about the corruption that it claimed had engulfed President Mahama and his appointees. Government couldn't charge or prosecute anyone to justify their claims. The looting of public funds and properties by public officials in the Akufo-Addo government was evident for all to see, the reason for their shameful defeat. I support the current AG for executing his duties as expected. If MPP, with all the so-called men, couldn't do the needful, they should be quiet and watch the AG do his work. Their corruption saw people like John Alan Kojoche Martin and now hitting toe and Hope Seradoye leave the party. They should give us a break. Thomas from Ablekuma sent in this one. KOD, as for Akufo-Addo, he was a clearing agent in matter of corruption. AG was right to brief the masses on oral, which is of concern. They voted for. Stephen from Kwabenya. Thank you. The sovereignty of Ghana resides in the people of Ghana, in whose name, okay, right. Please, KOD, can you explain to me why the other two arms of government account for their stewardship through the Public Accounts Committee in Parliament, except the judiciary, where you and I live, rest in their verdict. A judge can pass a verdict that can determine if you can continue to live or be executed, yet no institution hold them to explain to the public the reasoning of their judgments. We are in this country where Anas was able to catch a high court judge taking bribe in court to subvert justice. How can we tell about the rot that happens in courts of appeal and the Supreme Court, etc.? This one is from Major in Ashaiman. Thank you, Major, for your message this morning. I appreciate you. In fact, Afenyo Market's cheap propaganda will further reduce MPP's chance of winning 2028 election from Toro in Lashibi. This one also says, God bless you, Mr. KOD. Please, Chief Justice has to go so that prosecution can be done. Without the removal of Chief Justice, it cannot be done. So it is important to let her go. Alhaji Hamza in Pig Farm says, good morning to you, my dear brother. In fact, listening to Honorable Jonapo speak this morning, my heart bleeds for this nation. The issue of the missing containers must be investigated to the latter, and those found to be involved in the criminal act must be made to face the laws of the country. We cannot continue this way, and it is clear the previous government criminally managed the energy sector. And these are the same people out there shouting on top of their voices that there is doomsday in the system. The question is, who caused them? In my humble opinion, the energy sector should be privatized. Oh no, and no. Let me come to you, because what I follow, the messages are a lot. So let me just come to your number. Yeah. Oh, yes.
So I listening to Bro, he was saying the way forward. The way forward is what we're doing.
Oh, you've submitted already?
We will come back to the
yeah, but have you done a submission on the ECG matter already?
No, I'm not coming there.
Yes.
He said that
yes.
That how long can we continue to be discussing this? So he is talking about, he was asking the way forward. We should be discussing the way forward,
which I will give later.
So the way forward, it is what we do. You know, if you have an issue, you don't investigate to see the root cause of your problem. You cannot profess the solution. And so government has been able to unearth this rot, that 1,000 and plus and several other, millions of dollars, stolen from ECG. And so certainly investigations are underway. They will conduct an investigation into this, and those behind this will be brought to book, and that will redefine the direction of the the organization ECG. Because if 1,000 plus containers are missing and nothing is done, tomorrow you have 5,000 containers missing from same ECG. But if something is done right, whoever that would try to do that tomorrow know very well that somebody ended up in jail because of this. So let me not try. That's what we're talking about. But I have a challenge. All of us, we sit in various media platforms and say that, like what my good friend Afenyo Markin is saying in Parliament, that government is engaged in persecution. How do we correct this? If you do not investigate, how are you going to? So government should just come and pretend that nothing had happened in the previous administration. Even when we have issues like this, we shouldn't investigate and just move on, just in the name of continuity. This is not how we want to build the country. Look at the SkyTrain. How can you
5 million
transfer? No, that one is $2 million.
That's $2 million.
Transfer money, $2 million, taxpayers' money,
without approval,
without board approval. And even the company you send the money to, when you went to Mauritius, by the investigations, there's nothing like that existed in Mauritius. You went and used some people to open an account, send money to them, transfer the money to them. That is the allegation. Then you went and withdrew the money, giving $100,000 to the people over there, and you took the rest away. Today, they are looking for the person to detain him for investigation. This person is running from country to the other. He's in Senegal. Yesterday I read a story. He says that he's not running away. He's not hiding. He shall come. The former CEO of GIF, Ghana Investment is an infrastructure fund.
Yeah.
I mean, so you go after such persons, and then somebody says somewhere and say you are engaged in political persecutions. How can you transfer state money, $2 million? Do you know what $2 million can do in my constituency? To a country. And when we even trace to the country, there's no any organization like that.
You know, we can actually distribute $2 million to the 16 regions, and Ghana will still have money if we are able to distribute all these monies.
Yes,
the amount of monies that people are keeping in their homes.
So that's what I'm saying. So what the government needs, what government needs now is the support of the public. Well, nobody should turn any investigation as public. As government being going harassing their political opponents. What AD did, somebody also sent a message. I disagree with the person. There are millions of cases being investigated, Kwame. I know on issues, some cases involving even some members of parliament, but those things they've not kept them on the media simply because they are still under investigation. All those things AG spoke about are matters that are almost concluded in terms of investigations. We'll talk about the, how do you call it, the NSB issue, the Sky Train, and then the National Service Scheme. They're almost done with the investigation. So he was only kind of briefing the public about progress made as far as those cases are concerned. But aside that, there are millions of cases that are under investigations.
All right, thank you, Honorable. What is going to happen to your honorable colleague member who allegedly received some funds to defend the NSS scandal?
Well, we are waiting. I'm waiting.
Why are you people hiding behind the cloak of?
But the person, the person is not hiding. In fact, that one
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying because I read a piece by Justice Shemsai. Who says that
they should mention the name?
I don't know why they don't mention names.
There are processes of even getting an MP. If you want to arrest a member of parliament, with a person, if they need a person for investigation, they should try right to Speaker of Parliament to release a person.
Right. The problem is that we talk a lot.
No action. Good morning, lawyer. I'm Richard from Accra. We have a case in court since last year, and the defendant is ready to settle the matter out of court, but our counsel is not telling us anything, and we are seeing foul play by our counsel. Please advise us. We are dying at home to feed and pay our bills. Worried, sacked employees. Let's talk after the show. I can't offer any help now. The AG, Dominic Akuritinga Ayine, is clearly doing partisan prosecutions. Within 1 month of your appointment, you cleared all ex-NDC government officials who were charged for causing financial loss to the state and facing prosecution in court. You boldly told the whole nation that the NDC government is under NDC Mahama, who was no longer interested in continuing to prosecute those cases. So, what has changed today for you to be holding press conferences telling Ghanaians about common suspected cases? If you really have evidence against such ex-MPP appointees, why not proceed to court? And you are doing press conferences to seek for public opinion. Since when has a court of public opinion become a prosecution process? The length of the frog will be known after it dies. Abdul Rahman Bako in Old Barrier. Good morning to you, lawyer. The MPP thinks that they are superhumans or super Ghanaians more than others. Anything about them is right, but when it's about others, it's wrong. Then it's abuse of human rights or witch hunting. I thought their president was a staunch human rights lawyer, as patriots. Board is where little man Afenyomakin should grow up. Bibi from Musuku sent in this one. Ghanaians vex. Pan-African Television, I'm Mutala from Salaga. Why is Asari Bosman still in office as deputy EC? Where He's NDC. Okay, all right. Thank you very much. You've asked your question. KOD, could you help me understand something? I've watched parliamentary proceedings in jurisdictions elsewhere where people make their points clearly without shouting. When you watch what happens in our country, shouting seems to be the order of the day. Can the minority leader in Ghana's parliament make a point without shouting, as he has been doing after becoming the minority leader? Well, maybe that's his style. You can't question his style. Eric from OWUSU is saying, good morning to you, Lawyer KOD. I'm a bit confused by what is happening in this country. I want to know if a police officer arrests a Medra and an armed robber grants an interview to the media. Is he judging prematurely? So a big man does something worse than this and is considered persecution? What kind of country are we building? Good morning to you, KOD. Please tell the professor that majority of Ghanaians are in support of the AG. Ghana doesn't belong to NPP. This one also says, hi, Chrysanthus Bagri from Sisala West constituency. Kudos to my able member of parliament. Indeed, his constituents are always happy seeing him on air. In relation to the prosecution of the NPP members projecting that they are not guilty, they should kindly go to court and defend themselves. All NPP members will soon go to jail, especially Afenyo Makin. All right, that's your opinion. Thank you. AG isn't witch hunting, rather dealing with those who corruptly enrich themselves. It can be non-politician. AG is not used as a tool. Stop using your book. Okay, all right. Felix AG. Felix Kofi says you are using too much book long. Hi KOD, good morning to you, and you are really doing a good job in service of Mother Ghana, and we are proud of you. Thank you. We always glued to our CV sets to watch you every day. Thank you. KOD, kindly send me your number. I am Adam from Tamale. All right. Okay, Adam, sure. If it is the case, that one we can handle it for you. All right. Kwame. Oh, where is it? Good morning, KOD. Please, are the judges listening to all the stories? Felix from Ashama sent in this one. This one says, Kwame, such a huge metal container to get missing in the airport. I really think that the port director, the security at the port, and the ECG management and boards need to be arrested and investigated. Charlie, by now, like for moving swiftly and arrest these people. Good morning to KOD. It's shocking that such numbers of containers can vanish into thin air. I'm not surprised that such things are happening at our port, apart from the little changes in leadership at the port. Every worker there is still MPP. Soglo K. Ibrahim Lohu Nadoli Kalio, thank you, sir, for your message. Abdul Al Hassan from Tamale says, KOD, MPP should shut up. Okay. This one says, good morning. The removal of the EC and the unanimous FC is long overdue, but we must go beyond the petitions to impeach them for abusing their offices. Officials who wear party colors to disqualify the people of SAL have no right to be in office. Again, a CJ who prescribes birth certificates to rig elections or closes the courts to prevent access to judicial services is not fit for purpose. We need to clean up the judiciary because the unanimous FC is an existential threat to justice and rule of law. Ken William. KOD, I can tell you for a fact that no political party in Ghana can reset this country except for an independent president who doesn't belong to any political party. A country that cannot punish its public corruption officials can by no means develop. It pains me that Ghanaians couldn't understand Honorable Alan Chamante's vision. Second chamber in parliament would have resolved the issues of CJEC, chair and IGP, etc. Now everything has become political witch hunting. I miss Honorable Alan Chamante's GTP. Thomas from Ablekuma sent in this one. This is Prosper Kaleji sending from Kaswa. Mr. KOD, can somebody tell me that corruption cannot be tackled once and for all? What is preventing any government that comes into power from fighting corruption? Does it mean that there's something happening secretly that we the public don't know? Well, I think John Mahama is trying, so let's support him and let's see how it pans out. Good morning, security. The revelations from the current Attorney General shows that SOEs and government institutions are part of the illegal mining. The previous government was not only engaged in illegal mining in our water bodies and forest reserves, but also illegally mining in the government institutions and SOEs. All the monies in these institutions are gone, leaving them defunct. Daniel from Bongo sent in this particular one. Kwame, why couldn't MPP prosecute the old appointees if they had all the evidence against them for 8 years? This one also says, community lawyer Danso, I wish Bahama should investigate the rot at the Coastal Development Authority as well as the Toro as well from Toro in Lashibi. This one also says, good morning to you, KOD. Eric from Techiman. Why is it that the NDC has allowed some CEOs like Binoas Commission, Ghana Airport, FDA, etc. to be at post? All right. This matter, I know go fit talk some more. I know go fit talk some. All right. 2 more messages and I'm out of here. KOD, good morning to you. In fact, I always blame JM. An apology that the last made give them chance to behave that way, especially minority leader. Okay, thank you. Good morning to Kwame. E-levy was scrapped, but I sent money home now. I was taxed 7 cedi 50 pesos and 9 cedi 10 pesos. I was charged e-levy on my phone. Why? Please, Kwame, you are a seasoned journalist. You nearly became a vice president if Alan had won. Please check from the telcos, especially MTN, to desist from the practice. Tola from Tamale sent in this one. This one also is very lengthy. But, oh, sorry. Facebook messages. Good morning, this is from Nasir Mohammed. Good morning to you, Pan-African Television. Kiori, the panelists, what's happening is scary. Kiori, it appears that Nana divided up the country and gave his appointees the free hand to do what they wanted. The NSB is an entity most of us didn't even know about. NSS scandal is huge. Cocoa Board and ECG are bigger. If oral doesn't work, we are finished. Some of us will give up. If that happens, as it will mean NPP and NDC are the same. Edward Dugbaja says, I think we must do voluntary contributions to build more prisons in the country from the criminal activities played by Akufo-Addo and his cabal. I wouldn't be surprised if hundreds of thousands of people, of MPP fraudsters, are criminals and are put behind bars. All right, why must the government pay attention to MPP's claim of political persecution in the first place? They knew that they did and so are fully aware of the repercussions. One major reason they never wanted to leave power. Emmanuel Geraldo Delema sent in this one. Isaac Akom Wilson says NDC and MP are the same. Abubakar Adam says, KOD, please kindly suggest to the president to use the prisoners to clean the country, just as his counterpart in Burkina Faso is doing, using them for farming. Abubakar Karim says the best way to stop corruption is to legalize it and put high taxes as much as 90% on it for any corrupt act that has been able to be proven beyond reasonable doubt. Georgina Port should be aware where the containers are. Okay, thank you very much. And I think that I have done very, very, very good with the messages. Let me say a big thank you to you, Honorable Sukwaru, for your time. Today you've been on your phone, so what's happening? And are you responding to your constituents?
Responding to constituents.
Oh, Charlie, not be easy. The job hard. Prof. Wedi, thank you very much for your time this morning. And thank you quite sincerely to the viewers for spending your morning with me. My name is KWAME OWUSU, so I'll see you when I see you. Have a nice day. God bless you. Bye-bye.